When Dave was a boy, his mother would say to him, "Dave, you just don't know when to give up." For 35 years, Dave took this as a compliment. He was strong, tenacious even, persistent, in an almost Sisyphean way. As he got older, he began to wonder if he was more like Icarus. Tradition, as you may remember, was everything to Dave. He envisioned a plan in his mind, and he had to see it through to the bitter end. Last year, he had tried to raise the turkey from chickhood. He didn't mean to raise trouble, it just sort of happened. The problem with raising a turkey, thought Dave, was that you could get attached, start to think of it as a pet, and your pet could start to think of it as a friend. Never good for the odds of butchering the thing. Dave had thought the plan had the potential for success. Really, it did. Somewhere along the road, though, the turkey had won and Dave had lost. And Dave didn't like that. He thought maybe he could give it another go, change the variables, buy a turkey, free range, still gobbling, and all Dave would need to do was take it to the butcher, and maybe he wouldn't introduce Sam to the turkey until it was already in the oven. When Dave had told Morley his plan for this Christmas's turkey, she had laughed at him. "You don't understand," said Dave. "This'll be the best turkey dinner yet. It's coming all the way from a free-range farm in Quebec. It's a French turkey." A few days after that, Dave had gotten a call from the farm. "We can't mail your turkey to you," said the farmer. "We have a policy against mail-order turkeys. You'll have to come pick it up." Dave thought about canceling his order and finding another turkey elsewhere. He thought about telling the farmer to ship the turkey anyway. He thought about saying some creative expletives to the farmer. Each option was more tempting than the last. "I'll be there to pick it up on December 23rd, said Dave. Dave, balking at the thought of spending 8 hours in the car with a turkey, went online and purchased 3 plane tickets. 1 economy ticket to Quebec for himself, and 2 first-class tickets to Toronto for himself and the turkey. It was now the day before Christmas Eve, and Dave was at the airport. To be specific, he was at the Quebec City Jean Lesage International Airport with a backpack slung over his shoulder and a pet carrier tucked under his arm. The turkey weighed as much as a small dog and just barely fit in the carrier. Dave knew the carrier could fit a turkey because it was the same carrier he had used to bring Trouble to the petting zoo. He patted the top of the carrier fondly. The turkey squawked indignantly. Dave skipped the check bags lines and beeline for CATSA, Canadian Air Transport Security Authority, for the Americans in the crowd. He set his backpack and the turkey on the conveyor belt, then took off his shoes and belt and headed for the metal detectors. "Hang on, sir," said one of the security officers, an elderly man of portly stature with round glasses and white hair. His name was Hugo Eillet, and he had been an airport security officer for 30 years. He was proud of his job. He was keeping his country safe. He had seen all sorts of people bringing all sorts of strange items. When he told the following story to his grandchildren for years to come, he would always end the story with, "I've never seen anything like it." "What is it?" said Dave irritably. He had been looking forward to an easy time through CATSA so he could get to his gate. "You can't put animals through the x-ray machine. We'll do a separate scan of your dog over here." "Dog?" thought Dave, but he didn't say it out loud, and he followed Hugo over to a cordoned-off area. Hugo set the turkey down. The turkey gobbled unhappily. Hugo adjusted his glasses on the bridge of his nose and peered through the metal mesh door of the carrier. The turkey gobbled again, unhappy to be subjected to such scrutiny. "Sir, is this a turkey?" asked Hugo. "Yes, it is," said Dave, gamely. "You can't take a turkey on an airplane," said Hugo. "And why not?" asked Dave. "Well, it's just not done," said Hugo. "I'm sorry, but you can't bring this bird on board. You'll have to take it out of the airport." Uh-oh, thought Dave. His mission was in jeopardy. He thought quickly. How could he salvage this? I can't get rid of it," said Dave. "I need it. It's my—" He racked his brain for an idea. "My emotional support turkey," declared Dave triumphantly. Hugo raised a bushy white eyebrow. Your emotional support turkey? Yes, Dave said. He patted the top of the carrier. He keeps me calm. A bead of sweat rolled down Dave's forehead. Hugo looked Dave up and down. I can see that, he said. So I've got to take my turkey on the plane, said Dave. With reluctance, Hugo gave the turkey the CATSA seal of approval, and Dave was on his way. Dave patiently waited the 2 hours until the boarding process began. When he got on the plane, Dave sat on the aisle, and the turkey's carrier rested on the chair closest to the window. Dave examined it for a moment before reaching across the armrests and clicking the seatbelt over the carrier. Dave was satisfied with himself. He had successfully gotten the turkey onto the plane. Now all he had to do was get it back to Toronto, and he would be home free. Eventually, the flight attendant came around and placidly offered Dave a beverage. Gin and tonic, Dave said, still feeling lightheaded from his success in managing to get the turkey on the plane. Or maybe it was the altitude. Dave sipped on his drink, contentedly. He glanced at the turkey out of the corner of his eye. It stared with beady eyes through the cage door at Dave. Dave turned to look at the turkey, full on. It's like my prisoner of war, thought Dave. He would not be bested by a turkey again, not this year, nor any in the future. And then, Dave thought, he had better fatten the turkey up before the slaughter. The bird blinked. Dave addressed it. You're hungry, right? The bird gobbled twice and cocked its head. Dave rummaged around in his backpack and pulled out a package of granola. Seeds and nuts, said Dave, holding the package up for the turkey to see. He opened the package, and then Dave opened the carrier door. The turkey looked at Dave. Dave looked at the turkey. The turkey looked at Dave. Dave, weakly, held out the bag of granola as he realized his mistake. In a flurry of feathers, the turkey vaulted over Dave into the aisle of the plane. Wait, said Dave, but it was too late. Dave twisted around in his seat, but the turkey was already in business class. He could hear people's screams as the turkey passed through the plane. Dave, heroically, unstrapped his seatbelt and hurried down the aisle after the turkey. Not to worry, everyone, said Dave, loudly, hoping to sound authoritative. This turkey does not have bird flu. Bird flu? Cried one of the passengers. No, said Dave, but it had no effect on the passengers, who had all begun to cover their faces with their arms for protection. Hadn't they ever dealt with a wild turkey before? Thought Dave. Dave tracked the turkey down the length of the plane by the feathers it left in its wake. The turkey halted in the aisle and its head swiveled to stare at Dave. Dave still held the bag of granola. Here, turkey, he called, and he began to creep toward the turkey, holding the granola forward like a shield. A flight attendant appeared behind Dave, shrieking something incomprehensible. The turkey startled and continued toward the back of the plane. It's all right, Dave said to the flight attendant placatingly. It's just a turkey. I'll get him. He made his way toward the back of the plane. The turkey had absconded with a passenger's snack, and there was now a trail of chips scattered along the aisle. Dave reached the back of the plane. He was 3 feet from the turkey. He felt like a cowboy about to engage in a gunfight. High noon. Then he pounced, struggling to grapple at the turkey and subdue it. Unfortunately, the turkey was winning. At that moment, a bystander stepped out of the bathroom at the back of the plane. Quick, said Dave. Hold the door open. And they corralled the angry turkey into the bathroom. Dave breathed a sigh of relief. Half an hour later, the plane landed at the Toronto Pearson International Airport. Passengers were rushed off the plane and animal control was called. Dave was shepherded to a room for questioning. When he finally made it home on December 24th, he was covered in scratches and feathers, and he was missing a turkey, and he had been added to the Canadian no-fly list. I thought it would work, said Dave to Morley when he arrived at home. I thought it would be the best Christmas turkey yet. And look at me now, I'm covered in feathers. Morley just shook her head and went into the kitchen to make Christmas Eve dinner, leaving Dave in the foyer. He thought about tradition, and then he thought about family. He may not have a fancy turkey from Quebec. He might not have any turkey at all. He didn't really need one. He thought about his record store and the cheer his vinyls brought to his customers, especially around Christmas time. He thought about his neighborhood and the connections he had made, Jim Schofield, Kenny Wong, and yes, even Mary Turlington. He thought about Morley and Stephanie and Sam. He thought about opening presents on Christmas morning and seeing the joy on their faces. And then he followed Morley into the kitchen. Thank you for listening.